All right, let's move on to our second tool for self-maintenance for serving over the long term. There's a very simple diagram that I've used for many years to help people learn how to examine the source of their stress and to manage it more effectively. And I find that this is absolutely necessary to continue to perform long term. It begins with this, a large circle. This circle represents your concerns, so I call it the circle of concern or the sphere of concern. That circle represents everything in your life that you care about, from the simple, the trivial, to the mega important. You know, let's face it, we all have all of those things. You might have a bad hair day or a cracked nail, and that's your biggest concern today. We also worry about world peace, the national economy, what our president and Congress is going to do or not do. We worry about the health of our friends, our families, our loved ones, and our own, of course. And all these things fit into that circle. So again, this is everything in your life that you care about at all. Now, within that circle, there's a smaller one. That is the circle of control. Now, depending on the issue, it's always small compared to the larger one. How small depends on the issue. For example, in regard to the world economy or world peace, how much control do you and I have? And the answer is zero, effectively. I can't do anything about it. Maybe get a sign and march in a protest, but that's about it. In terms of a relationship that's important to us, whether it's a spouse or friend or parent-child, it's 50% as big as the larger one. Because in any relationship, and I'll use myself as an example, I have control over my own attitude, my own words, my own actions. How much control do I have over my wife's attitudes, words, and actions? The answer is zero. I can't control any other person what they choose to do. But I have control over myself, so it's 50% as big. So depending on the issue, that's a smaller circle, maybe even non-existent. But whatever it is, there's always a gap. And I'm going to put this one in red. And I call this the anxiety zone. The anxiety zone, because that's the realm of thinking and emotions where we care about something, maybe very intensely and maybe very logically, and yet we have no control over it. That means you could also call that the helpless zone. Now, what is it that makes people overstressed, overworried, and where we would metaphorically say that's their basket case? It's by burning mental and emotional energy in things that I cannot control that I care about. It's living out here mentally. You see, you and I can make ourselves emotionally crazy sitting in an easy chair by imagination alone. And we do this by obsessing over and thinking over and worrying about stuff that we can't change and cannot control. However, on the other hand, the more a person lives in here, the circle of control, the more stable they are, the more consistent they are, the more effective they are, frankly, the happier they are. And so in any given issue, what we want to do is to find that area of control. And then to ask ourselves, what can I do about this problem? Now, there are many problems in life we cannot fix, we cannot change. Many times, though, we can still improve them if we're acting effectively. So the way to approach that is to say, given this area that I'm worried about, where is the area that I can do something about it? What can I control? So think about this from a person in a serving profession, let's say a registered nurse who's a care coordinator. Do you care about your patients? Of course, that's why you're in this work. Do you care that your patients learn and practice what you're teaching them and get well, or at least get better? Yes. Here's the problem, though. Can you control what those patients do? And the answer, of course, is not. I've been a teacher, a counselor, a coach for 40 years. I've worked with thousands of individuals on either personal or business issues of their life, professional issues. And I learned a long time ago that I can control the quality of my coaching or counseling. I can control the care, the heart that I give to the person and effort. I can control the quality of what I'm trying to do. I cannot control what somebody else does or doesn't do with it. And so what I learned a long time ago is to concentrate on what I can do, be the best coach I can be, and let go of what I can't control, which is what they're going to do about it. See, and every one of us who serves is really in that position. So if this is an issue for you, what can you do? Here's what I suggest. Take a piece of paper and divide it into columns, 3 columns vertically. Column number 1, write your concerns and list them individually. And probably any of us at any given day have more than one thing we're concerned about. So, but if something's bothering you, list it as a concern. Second column, what can you control about that issue? And for each individual issue, identify something you can do to either fix it, improve it, change it, or at least bring about positive change somehow. But something you have control over. Each one needs its corresponding action. See, one of the reasons people don't solve problems effectively in their lives is that they have them jumbled up. It's like a bowl of spaghetti. And how do you organize a bowl of spaghetti? Well, you can't. So what you need to do is identify them individually, have an individual strategy for each one of them. But then that third column I find is also helpful. What about this issue do you have no control over? Where is your lack of control? And I find it's helpful to think that through, because that last column is the one that you can identify and then consciously choose, I'm going to let go of that one. And if you will do this, you'll find that you can reduce your stress level merely by having a strategy for each of these issues that's bothering you. That makes you feel better in itself, even before you take action. But then by taking action, you're going to be as empowered as you can be. You won't be out in the helpless zone or the anxiety zone. You're going to be living in here, and you're going to do a better job of managing the issues that are bothering you. So if you're going to be serving others, the thing that I've learned, and I suggest to you, is you give the best service you can, but you let go of the results because you cannot control the choices of other people.